Hello everyone, I'm excited to present on employability, skills, and strategies. I'm Amy Willard, Associate Director in the Office of Personal and Career Development, the OPCD at Wake Forest University, where I work with undergraduates across the disciplines to be career and life ready, whether that's selecting a major, exploring careers, creating and enhancing the internship and job search toolkit, pursuing grad school, or navigating all things career related. I have 19 years at the university with 10 years in the OPCD and 9 years at Grayland Estate as an accounting HR assistant, then the manager of promotions and activities. Prior to working for Wake, I taught Spanish grades 3 through 12. I was a traveling Spanish teacher early in my career, dividing time between an elementary and middle school in Wake County, before I taught for 2 years at the high school level in Stokes County. I'm a national certified counselor with a Master of Arts in Counseling from Wake Forest and a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish from NC State. I am the current North Carolina Career Development Association, NCCDA, president, and invite you to become involved with the organization through our morning musings, conference, webinars, and possibly board roles in the future. I have to admit that I have a special affinity towards CTE educators. My rising high school senior took full advantage of the career and college promise pathways by taking health science courses the first 2 years of high school because of her interest in medicine, and she's taken college courses at Surrey Community College. She's already earned 9 credit hours so far. In the spring, she was inducted into the National Technical Honor Society. This year, she'll be taking a CNA course in the fall, followed by an internship in the spring, and she will be taking additional college classes too. So thank you for your dedication to teaching and leading high school students on career paths and providing them with the tools to succeed beyond the classroom. Today I'll be specifically speaking on skills and tools to increase employability by navigating the job search process through understanding the skills employers seek in candidates, creating personal branding tools such as the resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile, exploring jobs and careers to set a job target, and discovering possible lives or careers. I will introduce and guide you through several activities and exercises that you can implement with your students, and the resources that I share and mention will be available to you through the conference. To quote College and Career Promise, success in today's global economy may require a 2 or 4 year degree, a certificate, or diploma. The strategic job search encompasses several components to be successful, whether a student pursues college or work after high school. These elements support students in becoming career and life ready, regardless of what path they choose. There are 7 steps that college students follow in their career development at Wake Forest University. We call it Ready 7. These can easily be applied to high school students, and they are: 1. Self-awareness, being able to articulate your skills, interests, and values for your own clarity in decision-making and to communicate with others. Career awareness, knowing potential career paths of interest that align with your skills, interests, and values. Personal branding, having strong, updated personal branding materials like your resume, LinkedIn profile, and a professional introduction. Network and relationship building, building and sustaining successful relationships to share knowledge and information, one person at a time. Interviewing skills, being able to conduct a formal conversation with a potential employer or admissions officer who is seeking to determine if a student is the best fit for their opportunity. Professional skills and literacy, having the skills, knowledge, and attitude to be effective and successful in the workplace or college school environment. And this step is perfect for CTE and the professionalism skill, and life and leadership, preparing for a life after college with knowledge, skills to manage personal relationships and professional choices, and to be an authentic, ethical leader contributing to the community. We'll be focusing on career awareness and personal branding for this session, aligning nicely with the 3 of the 6 North Carolina-focused employability skills: ethics, being honest about your skills and experience; professionalism, how you present yourself when applying to jobs; and resource management, managing their employment collateral for the strategic job search. First, students must understand what skills employers seek in candidates. These include the other three employability skills: communication, problem solving, and teamwork. Yes, organizations will have specific skills and qualifications depending upon the position. However, there are certain skills and attributes that employers want to see on the resume. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE, with fewer employers screening job candidates by GPA, at least for college graduates, it's increasingly important that students demonstrate key attributes such as teamwork and problem-solving skills, 2 of the 6 North Carolina-focused essential employability skills, on their resumes, according to the new research from NACE. This is not only important for college students, but for high school students entering the work world after graduation. They need to be able to translate their experiences to align with what employers seek in candidates, along with specific skills and qualifications for the job. If you have students pursuing college after high school, then GPA can play a vital role in their job search process and selection for an interview. For high school students, GPA can be a positive factor to highlight on their resumes as it demonstrates aptitude and hard work in academics. However, NACE's Job Outlook 2021 Spring Update reports that just 56.6% of responding employers are using GPA to screen college graduates from the class of 2021 for open positions. That's a steep plunge from the nearly 75% that used this method 2 years ago. To account for this shift, college graduates should highlight attributes important to employers on their resumes. Atop this list are teamwork and problem-solving skills. Roughly 8 in 10 responding employers indicate that they'll be looking for evidence of these attributes on the resumes they review. And I'd imagine this is not just for college students, but also high school students that are pursuing a career after graduation. Approximately 3/4 of employers surveyed want to see indications of a candidate's analytical and both verbal and written communication skills, and that's an employability skill, while initiative, leadership, and technical skills are being sought by more than 2/3 of respondents this year. So 4 of the top 10 skills are employability skills. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on the resume. The resume is a gateway to being selected for the interview and landing a job. Without it, it's nearly impossible to apply to a job. When I meet with students about their internship or job search, they get frustrated when they're not receiving any callbacks from organizations. Oftentimes, the resume is the one thing preventing them from landing an interview and moving forward in the process. Therefore, it's important to review and revise the resume. It's crucial for the resume to be formatted appropriately and use keywords for their skills and qualifications, aligning specifically to the position, and have strong accomplishment statements, or what some may know as bullet points. When first years come into my office for a resume review, they often have a resume that is 2 pages and lists everything they have done and accomplished in high school. It is very likely the resume they use to apply to college. This is a great start to building a post-high school or college resume. These resumes typically either have a simple list of experiences and accomplishments or brief 1-bullet paragraphs. Someone with very limited experience within 1 to 3 years from high school or college graduation needs to keep their resume to 1 page when applying to jobs. When a hiring manager reads it, they will only take seconds to scan it for alignment with the skills and qualifications they seek in a candidate. It is vital that the student create strong accomplishment statements leading off with action verbs aligning with the keywords from the job description. And I shared here the top half of a resume and then the bottom half of a resume, and you'll receive this template as part of your resources. So for example, a student may have been a camp counselor and depicted their role as this, kind of a basic statement. So it's listed under work experience, and they just simply stated that they worked with kids and they led daily activities. This example doesn't say much to me about what they can do or will do for my organization. Whereas this example better highlights the skills and accomplishments the students developed and enhanced while in the position. Where possible, students need to quantify and show impact and results of their work. So as you can see from this professional statements, they're using collaborated, communicated, 2 skills that employers are looking for, and they show that they've been a leader, so they led a group. And you'll see that they've kind of quantified there and saying how many people that they've worked with and led. So this is a great example of really expanding out on what they've done and accomplished as a camp counselor. The layout and content are just 2 aspects of the resume writing process. Increasingly, organizations want candidates to apply through a platform rather than send the resume to a person. Therefore, oftentimes it seems like the resume goes into a black hole. Well, meet ATS, Applicant Tracking System, a system that organizations use to manage and track candidates. And you need to know how it works, so you know how to navigate it for successful results. CNBC states more than 95% of Fortune 500 companies use ATS, with smaller organizations following suit. 75% of resumes are never read by a human. And what does that mean? Only about 25% move on to the humans. And what does that mean for your students? Well, they need to craft an ATS-ready resume. But how do they do that? So here are some key guidelines for crafting and submitting an ATS-friendly resume. Format matters. Contrary to popular belief, uploading a Word file is better than a PDF file. Why? Most systems are still not compatible with PDFs. ATS will read a PDF as one image, and it may not be able to parse the information. So how does it work? The system pulls in the files and sorts it into data fields. It scans the fields and divides the resumes according to how they match the position. If the platform allows, you could upload a PDF as an additional document. Simplicity works best. Leave out the fluff, colors, images, and graphics. They're unreadable by systems. Though pretty and creative, this will be an automatic mismatch for the system. Don't use headers or footers. The system will not be able to read it. So keep all content, even contact information, within the body of the resume. If they are applying to creative roles, like a marketing position, they can keep their creative resume. This will be the one they send to the human or upload as a PDF if the ATS platform allows more than one document. Using common titles. So you want to be sure to use titles such as education, professional experience, leadership experience, and skills. You want to avoid an about me if you have a summary section. And this is not as common of a section to use for high school or even college students. Or my work or projects for the experience section. Be specific. Leadership experience may be listed first if they have limited work experience. And leadership experience can be from sports, extracurricular activities, volunteer, and community engagement. Always customize for keywords. Keywords are not only important for ATS, but also for hiring managers to easily see the alignment with the position, increasing the odds of moving forward in the process. Speak the organization's language. Use their words and industry jargon within the resume. Your students need to apply to the job. Yes, every single time. Do a comparative analysis between the resume and the job description. How does the resume align with the position? And use the long form and acronym version of a word, especially if they use the acronym on the job description. And if the position lists any credentials, such as certificates or licenses, they must be included on the resume. So here's a great exercise from LinkedIn Learning's Jenny Foss to identify the keywords. You can have your students research and select a job in which they have an interest in pursuing after high school or college. First, print out the job description and get 3 different color highlighters or pens. They're going to review the job description 3 times. The first time, they will identify all the hard skills, such as Excel, Java, project management. Highlight or underline those. With the second color highlighter or pen, they will comb the description for all the soft skills, such as curiosity, initiative, troubleshooting, cross-functional collaboration. Finally, the last color, they will highlight or underline the action verbs, such as analyze, collaborate, lead, develop. If you don't have a job description, here are 2 helpful resources for research. The Occupational Information Network, or ONET, is a free online database that contains hundreds of occupational definitions to help students, job seekers, businesses, and workforce development professionals to understand today's world of work in the United States. It is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor. ONET gives you the option to search by occupation, quick search at the top right corner of the page, or by the Find Occupations found in the red text color on the left side of the page, below Occupation Search in blue. ONET provides a plethora of information related to occupations. It's a great resource for searching for and learning about various occupations and related jobs. So your students can learn about what's the knowledge that's needed, the skills, abilities, even the education level that's needed. It's really, really helpful. LinkedIn Career Explorer tool is another one. So additionally, they can use this to search for someone, or they can use LinkedIn to search for someone with the same or similar job title. So they can kind of ask, like, what are their skills? How do they describe their job? And then LinkedIn Career Explorer tool also may be helpful in researching skills. This will help guide them in selecting the keywords and phrases to weave into their resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and perhaps skills they need to develop for the job. And last, you have to remember the humans. So they don't want to leave it all to the bots. Artificial intelligence, that is. There's no gray area for ATS. A human can better decipher if the experience combined with the academic background matches, even if they prefer someone with an advanced degree. Ultimately, a person will read the resume. So there needs to be a balance between how they write for ATS and the human. Therefore, they have to overlay their application with networking. In some companies, the New York Times spoke with rate a recommendation from an existing employee so highly that such candidates are 10 times more likely to be hired. So they need to follow up on their application, especially if it's been a week or two from the posting deadline or since they've received information about it. This is something that many people do not do in the job search. So reach out to the connections or the hiring manager if possible. Find an advocate or a sponsor who can elevate the resume. This could be the difference between the resume moving to the next round or not. And as application materials are gathered and reviewed, it is important to remember how the resume may fit ATS. And here are some clever hacks and tools to double check the resume for ATS match and format before applying. Your students could convert the file to a text file. It will determine whether a document complies with the AI bots. It will allow them to see if the formatting looks disorganized. Did it rearrange sections? Or if items were eliminated? Are they missing parts of the resume? The Word-to-text conversion is much cleaner than the PDF-to-text version, as you can see here on the screen. The difference on the Word-to-text on the left and the PDF-to-text on the right. This can easily be done in Word by selecting File in the top left corner of the screen, then clicking on Export. Select Change File and choose Plain Text. A box will pop up for you to review your document, as you see here on the left-hand side. For PDF, click on File and Save as Text, and it will create a text file that you can review, that you can see on this right side. JobScan is a resource that they can use to compare the resume to the job description. It will tell them how they match up and can optimize to the position. How does it work? Upload the resume and job description, and the system scans them to detect how the resume stacks up to the position. It'll give a percentage score, match score, and list where adjustments need to be made. JobScan can also scan the cover letter and LinkedIn profile. The free version allows about 5 scans, so they could use or save this resource for the jobs they want most. So you may be wondering why I included the cover letter in this presentation. I recognize that some students may not ever need to write a cover letter, but if your students attend college, they will need to learn how to write one as part of their personal branding materials and job search toolkit. Plus, it's a form of communication. The cover letter is a narrative to show, not tell, how skills and qualifications align with the candidate and the employer. seeks for the position. Your students need to make it easy, very easy, for them to picture them in the role. Show how they've made impact in a role and what results they've driven due to their leadership and skills. How will they add value? The letter is not a regurgitation of the resume. The company has the resume. So they need to show how they can provide depth to an experience on their resume. If they've managed an organization's Instagram account, for example, how did they increase engagement with their followers? How did they create a solution to a problem where they took initiative? How was it implemented? I've known many individuals who shared how they've improved a process and increased efficiency in how something was done in their organization, and the company implemented their idea. They can also share how they may solve a problem the company may be experiencing by demonstrating how they've done it in the past. And sometimes the cover letter is a space where they can share an experience that may not be on their resume, or explain why there may be a gap in employment where they can show that they've been productive, maybe not as an employee of an organization, but maybe volunteering their expertise and skills at a nonprofit. The format is important to provide structure to the letter. It is a formal business letter. It only needs to have about 3 to 4 paragraphs. So you'll have the introduction first, and you want to impress the reader here. So you want to kind of underline your interest, what position you're applying for, aligning with the company's mission or value. The experience is the second paragraph. This is the meat of the letter and the lengthiest part of the letter and paragraph. This is where your students will show, not tell, how they've made impact and applied their skills aligned with the job. And finally, the closing. Really brief paragraph to conclude this and summarize the skills and qualifications they have, drawing attention to the resume and extending gratitude for consideration. It doesn't need to be longer than 1 page. And don't forget the keywords. Like the resume, speak their language. Use the words they have within the job description. If the cover letter is required and submitted through ATS, it will scan and parse the data like the resume. They'll want the system to find those matches between the cover letter and the job description. And like the resume, upload it in a Word file. So follow the same rules I outlined earlier about the resume and keywords. Finally, if it's optional, do they have to write one? No one really wants to, and most people won't. And this is where the humans come in and will set them apart. And hiring managers may not read them initially. In fact, according to Cultivated Culture, about 10% will read cover letters. But don't let that discourage your students. They may use them to determine the best candidate between 2 equal individuals. So it's vital to be sure it's flawless and interesting. This is another data point that they can collect on the skills and qualifications for the job. They don't want them to get removed from the interview selection over 1 misspelled word or including the wrong organization name. Yikes. That would not be good. Show some personality. The letter needs to stand out and above the rest. If your student looks online for ideas, their letter may end up looking like everyone else's. They could start with a story, how they align with the organization's values, services, products, the population they serve, or begin with an experience they may have had with the company's brand. Creating a LinkedIn profile will give your students the ability to connect with former supervisors, coaches, teachers, staff, professionals in careers of interest. It is a great way for your students to conduct informational interviews to learn more about jobs and careers they want to pursue in the future. Those conversations may help your students determine whether they want to continue exploring that path based on what they learn. The resume and cover letter are their gateway to an interview. But to increase the chances of a resume and cover letter being viewed by a human, your students need to combine their application efforts with making connections within the organization. It is estimated that 70 to 90% of jobs are landed through networking. People hire people, not paper. So it's important to search for and connect with personal networks and allies and individuals within the organization. One of the best ways to search for and make these connections is through LinkedIn. So the profile is a strategic job search tool and to increase marketability and employability. It is your student's online professional resume. Like their resume and cover letter, the LinkedIn profile is a part of their marketing collateral and a space to share their narrative for the skills, qualifications, and experiences they have aligned with the industry, organization, and position they seek. Hiring managers may take mere seconds to glance over the profile, so students can focus their attention on the top sections. They want to weave in the keywords that the hiring managers will search for when looking for candidates to fill their roles. So here are some tips, or 4 tips, to sharpen their LinkedIn profile. Your professional photo. So upload a headshot. You want to use they would want to have a professional picture, but it doesn't necessarily have to be professionally made, but it needs to look professional. Many camera phones take good pictures, even with blurred backgrounds. Great backdrops can be found in downtown areas or neighborhoods, such as a brick wall or mural. But they want to avoid cropping themselves out of a group photo, as I've indicated here on the left-hand side. Also, they can consider including a cover photo that represents their personality, industry of interest, and career path. And creating a strong headline. The headline can be personality, career, or inspirational driven. There are many different options, such as listing a job title, organization, using adjectives to describe strengths related to the profession, personal professional attributes. Many people elect to simply state the job title and organization. This is okay, but it doesn't say much about who they are or capture my attention. So here are some headline examples that either make a short statement about what they do or a combination of their role or who they are. So we have gadget lover, aspiring engineer, people developer, connector, strategic leader, author, and I shared my own strategically creative career development professional preparing college students to be career and life ready. And a brief summary. So crafting that summary, this section is the opportunity to show their personality and drive the personal and professional narrative. How would they sum up who they are, their experiences, skills, accomplishments, and interests in maybe 3 to 4 brief paragraphs? Here's an easy template to follow from the Muse. Introduce themselves. Who are they as professionals, as a professional, or who they think they are as a professional? What do they do? What do they value, or what do they think that they would bring to an organization that they want to work for? Highlight their skills, and experiences, and achievements in a paragraph form or a bulleted list. Use keywords here to align with the industries, organizations, and positions they seek. Who are they outside the school or work? This is optional, but their interests might resonate with a hiring manager, future employer, or professional connection. And perhaps there may be a call to action. Ask the reader to connect to discuss contacting them about a job or opportunities, or do whatever they're currently looking to get from their LinkedIn profile. This is only a guide to put a structure to the summary, but this section is personal, and they should use the first person. A handout and links to LinkedIn profile examples are provided within the resources for this session too, so you'll receive those as well. And last is sharing your experiences and skills. So your students, for their profile, their profile needs to be searchable and discoverable. What does this mean? Hiring managers utilize LinkedIn to find candidates. If they want to be found, especially if they are on the job hunt, then they need to have their content to be discoverable. Once they are comfortable and confident with their revised resume, including weaving in those keywords and terms into their accomplishment statements, they can copy and paste those statements into the experience section on their profile. Additionally, LinkedIn has a skills section. They can list or select at least 5 skills that depict their strengths, skills, qualifications aligning with the positions, organizations, and industries they seek that align with their strengths. And be sure to use the company's language. If they seek a cross-functional collaborator, then list collaboration as a skill if they possess that skill. Additionally, their connections can endorse those skills that are on their profile. So how do your students begin to find connections or build a network? When I work with college students, they often forget the network they have, or sometimes they have a very limited network. Therefore, an ally map that you see here, you can do an activity called an allied map to help spark ideas for connections and allies that can help them when exploring careers and connecting them to possible opportunities. Here's how you might facilitate the exercise. You would have your student write their name in the middle of the paper and circle it. Then write a teacher's name, a supervisor's name, coach's name, church member, supervisor, family friend. Write those. Those would be surrounding them in circles. They can circle that. And then they'll begin, you walk through and discuss the possible individuals they could connect with. And then I would even say that they can begin to see that that they have a network and realize they do have connections. And oftentimes the best and more fruitful connections are not from that first tier, that first circle around them, but actually that second bubble that you see that's blank. Those are probably the most fruitful. So the second or third tier. So they are the people that the first connections refer the student to reach out to. The resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile are the strategic job search tools to apply for jobs. However, before applying to jobs, individuals need to know what they want to apply to. What are their interests? The Career Diamond is a simple exercise to encourage reflection and create discussion with your students, particularly if they seem stuck as to what they might want to do for a job or a career. It is the who, what, why, and where of the job search. The student can draw a diamond in the center of their page and divide it vertically and horizontally by drawing a line from top to bottom and side to side, as you see on the screen. Then in a clockwise manner, starting with the top left side, they would write who. And above the right, they would write what. And on down, below that, they would write why. And then the last triangle or spot, they would write where. You would lead a discussion asking them questions related to those sections. So for example, who do they want to work with, for, or serve? Who are the people? Why do they want to do the work that they seek? What is their reason or purpose for the work? What do they want to do? The content of the job, what does it look like? And then where do they want to work? What's the location? What does the space or environment look like? Students can use one-word descriptors, bulleted lists, graphics, sentences, however they process best. This exercise will help your students process what types of occupations align with the who, what, why, and where that they desire for a career. And using this, the information from the Career Diamond, they can set a job search target. So what exactly is a job target? There are 3 key elements that any career coach wants to get clarity on from the student when helping the job search. It's the type of role or duties they're seeking, a general idea of the career industry area, or specific companies they'd like to work for, and finally the location, geographically speaking, where they plan to live and work. So as your student crafts their job target, encourage them to write down or type up a chart that looks like this, with each of these headers: job role and duties, industry, company, and location. Then begin to fill the chart with specific roles, job roles, industries, companies, and locations in which they desire to work. It's okay if the chart is pretty narrow. That might mean that they know exactly what they want to do next. Or the chart might be a bit fuller, like the one you see here. And that's okay too. Obviously, over time, they'll want to narrow down their job search goals a bit more. But this is a great starting point for mapping out where they want to proceed in the job search process. And if your students are still stuck on what they might be interested in, then you could conduct a possible lives activity. This activity is from my former director and career development thought leader, Dr. Kate Brooks. from her book, You Majored in What? Designing Your Path from College to Career. If you have a piece of paper available or want to pull up a notes app on your phone, I would invite you to go ahead and do that now so that you could follow along with the exercise. That I'll have you do the exercise. The Possible Lives activity is just that. It's mapping out and dreaming about all the possible lives or paths that would be of interest to you or would really use your strengths and skill sets. On a sheet of paper, write down your name in the middle and put a circle around it. And from there, you want to begin brainstorming your possible lives. These possible lives could include job titles, industries, companies, dream jobs, past jobs that you really enjoyed, things you're really good at, or consider your values. What is important to you? Consider how you enjoy spending your free time. Is there a connection to a career path? You can ask your students to write down at least maybe 6 or 7 job titles or possible roles they might enjoy. So as you take a minute to write down some ideas, and keep in mind, you'll likely need to finish this activity after the session is over because if a few minutes just isn't enough time for the activity in its entirety. So I'm going to pull up my possible lives as a sample for you right here. You can see here that I've included things like author, actress, career coach, event planning, photographer. What's so fascinating to me is that every time when I do this activity, I often drop off certain job titles or interest areas and add new ones that are a little unexpected. We are all constantly changing and evolving, so your students may find that if they do this reflective practice many years from now, theirs will look different too. And this is important to note for your students. Their interests may change, so what they want to pursue now may be different in a few years, and that's okay. In the interest of time, we're going to move on to the next step of this activity, which is identifying common patterns or themes that emerge from your possible lives map. For me, I found that my possible lives were mostly creative careers, included roles where I'd be putting together plans and then executing them, crafting narratives, being able to produce a finished product, and then helping people achieve their goals and vision. So what I'd like for you to do right now is to write down your patterns or themes, and this activity will be helpful for your students in career exploration and job search. And the keywords that emerge from the Possible Lives activity can be extremely useful when creating their resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and when searching for jobs. The world of work is becoming increasingly more competitive. Thus, it's vital for individuals to not only have the employability skills to successfully contribute to their organization's strategic goals, but to be able to translate those skills on their marketing collateral like their resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile. They need to be marketable to be employable. They also need to have self and career awareness to be able to articulate their strengths, skills, interests, and translate them into a job or career for clarity in the decision-making process. Strategic job search skills will enable students to be market ready for college and or career after high school. Job market skills and tools will enable students to increase marketability and employability for post-grad plans. The approaches and tools you learn today will enhance the career and life readiness for your students. I look forward to joining you for the Q&A after the presentation, and I provided a plethora of resources for you, from handouts to links from my library of career development tools and sources I used for this presentation. And the resources will be provided for you through the conference, and I'm open to connecting too. So please connect with me by email or LinkedIn that I provided here on the screen.